that when we were collectively together. What can maintain that resonance is you listening to your first mind, right? Because for you guys that never been here before, that will be here for your first time, you're going to see a lot of synchronicities. You're going to see a lot of intuitive activity popping off the whole time, all the way on your way here. all like I said, even when you leaving, but you got to stay on that frequency, right? Stay on it. And for all the people that attend the workshop, you're going to definitely, man, I'm about to put you on the arc. If you're not there already. There's a lot of people think they're there, but they find out once they take that discourse, like, damn, I didn't know this. Oh shit, I didn't know that. Oh man, I didn't know that. Oh shit, I didn't know this either. Oh, I didn't know I should be doing this. Right? And it's a real detriment to you guys to hear me say all the things that I do tell you across here, and you don't move on it. Hey, that's on you. Ain't got nothing to do with that. And I tell you guys what worked for me and mine. And now it ain't just about what worked for me, because I got too many students who this is working for, whose life is prevailing, right, to overcome all obstacles. But they asked that dearly departed is working in their life. They didn't break the proverbial community guidelines to interface with the physical dimension. So beings get access. They got a doorway in and out of here. A lot of y'all people don't got no doorway in and out of here. They can only look from that side and send intuitive promptings to you through the body, which a lot of y'all not in tune with your own body. So you're not picking up on the inclinations and the intuitive promptings that's being sent through the psychic center, right? There's a lot of feral spirits out there, right? Very, very wild, very all over the place. A lot of people come to me when they first come to me. They speak in 30 words every 10 seconds. And it's like, yo, slow down. I can't even understand what you're saying. And it just want to hurry up and get everything. And it's like, no, you need to hurry up and slow down and be patient, right? You will send yourself into a heart attack. You will go into cardiac arrest trying to pull in too much too soon. You want to have you some type of routine that you're sticking to on a consistent daily basis, to the point where it becomes perpetually involved in your life. And when you follow all of my promptings, my instructions, and my directions, you're going to see when something is off. You ain't even got to keep calling me and asking me why this is happening. You know why it's happening, right? You know why it's happening. You're going to be quite confident as to why this is occurring. And shouts out to Nate Cherry and Rico Rodriguez and my beloved brother Keith Taylor. You guys will be cycling around. I don't know if you guys can make it, if you can make it to the event. I know Ricky's going to be there, but for Nate and Keith, I will have remote controllers for you, right? That will be stand-ins or placement holders for the times that you're not at your altar. You can remote view to your altar, and your remote controller is going to facilitate your absence. So it's like you never absent, right? So when you saying them codes, and a lot of y'all don't know, y'all not in the community, but when you say them Gregory Grabavoy codes at your altar, it accelerates the effect of the Gregory Grabavoy code, right? Especially if you got a functioning, activated altar, right? For my people that then cycled through, you done had 2 or 3 cycles, your candles should be turning on by themselves, right? If you're doing everything correctly, your candle should be turning on. But you have to be perpetual with your routines and your activities. And don't be looking for nothing. Just keep doing what you're doing. And that's that's how people be having these aha moments and these miraculous events occurring in the proximity of their awareness field, because they're not expecting anything. They just doing what they supposed to be doing, and then all of a sudden, bam, that shit hit you right in the face. You like, oh, it's not gonna come with a drum roll, right? It's not gonna come with a Morgan Freeman narrative to the circumstance that's unveiling itself moment for moment. Right? It ain't gonna come like that. But when it does come, you're gonna appreciate it because you know you then deposited enough energy into a specific locality. And what the altar does for people is it gives you a target to project your energy into, whether that be your prayers, your meditations, your offerings, your libations, your positive thoughts, your affirmations, right? Your codes, your visualization techniques, not to mention the candle grids. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of you guys are missing out. I don't know what people be waiting for, but hey, I tell everybody, hey, I'm not gonna twist your arm. I'm not here to over convince you. I'm just gonna tell you what time it is, and all I could tell you is don't say that you haven't been told, right? Don't let space expand beyond you taking action because you start putting yourself seasons behind your own potential, right? And your probability starts to decrease instead of increase, right? To where you could change the trajectory of your environment, your reality, and your internal environment, right? So that you can stay receptive to higher frequency transmission. I would be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't disseminate the things that I do, right? Peace and love, beloved. Peace and love, Laura, one of the new initiates. Look forward to seeing you. K. Smith in the building. Martin Zuniga. Shirazi, my beloved brother Keith. Working on your Keith got all type of pyramids over there. You about to have another one, Keith. You ain't gotta pay for it. These is on the house for all the people that took the discourse and have cycled through 4 seasons. I will have a remote controller for you, right? Now your synchronicity is gonna really be picking up. Your astral projection is gonna pick up, right? Your ability to interpret your signs, your indicators and messages, they're gonna be picking up, right? You shouldn't have no shouts out to Lee Milton and shouts out to Shamari Kai, right? You shouldn't have no issues with receiving the promptings from your progenitors, right? If you are, you need to dial into the 9 grid system and open up some more axon terminals that are connected to your neural pathways so that you can get a clearer, concise understanding of what is being said to you or what is being shown. Because with many of my students, pretty much all of them, your altar begins to develop a sentient consciousness all its own, right? It started having a consciousness, and it lets you know when something is off or when someone is off or when something is awry and is not in alignment. And you gonna know that. You know, maybe the first couple of weeks for all my newbies, you'll be like, oh, why does this happen? And why is that happening? And I'd be like, hey, look at whoever you got in your life. That's why that shit is happening. That's the type of energy they bring in. And they letting you know through the altar, like, yo, stay, watch that motherfucker. There's something not right. Right? Something is off. Something is rotten in Denmark. And you can't just disregard that prompting when it comes to you and act like you don't see it. Because when you do that, there are beings just watching you from the observational field. They're seeing you disregard things. This is why a lot of you guys come to me, not the people in the community, but maybe a few have, like, I feel like I'm being attacked. You opening yourself up to attacks because you choosing your own ignorance over what's being put right in front of you. So you will end up getting attacked. You know, you 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 conceded with being attacked. When you come across somebody like me, you'll sit here, listen for about 10 minutes, and then go right on off and spend the rest of your day distracted and detracted. And there are forces that feed on your fear, that feed on your ignorance, that take note of that, and they start to follow you around. They see you don't got your dearly departed around you. That makes you susceptible to attacks in some type of way. They're like, oh man, you ain't got nobody around you. I'm gonna come after your ass, right? That's what they start coming. They start doubling down on them people. Like, oh shit, man, I'm gonna double down on this. He ain't got nobody anyway, right? They start nesting in your auric field. They start making their way through the layers of your aura, right? And you encouraging them by taking a drink and drinking too much spirit. That decreases the probability of you repelling these forces from impeding your auric field. And they got to go through about 9 layers of the aura before they get to the corporeal form. They even tried while you going to sleep. Refer to my story and the AAA workshop facts. I want to say that's fact number 6. While you dreaming and you done left your body, there's a collection of walk-ins that gather around your bedroom if you don't have an altar in place. And they're going to start conspiring ways on how to come into your body before you come back to your body. And in some cases, not all cases, in some cases, they will be close enough to you to bring forth those sleep paralysis situations in your awakened moments. Because they like, yo, keep them away just a little bit longer so we can see if we can get in here. Or her. These things occur on a daily basis, whether you admit it to somebody or not. I don't give a damn. The spiritual universe don't care about that. It's going to get highlighted anyway. What needs to be addressed, right? But every year, once a year, I do the workshop, walk people's hands through it, allow you to ask your questions, and you get hit with the staff, all at a discounted rate just for showing up at these events. Because the people that show up, they're the ones that really want it. Those are the ones that really benefit. And those are the people whose dearly departed are present. They start vetting them questions up out of some of y'all. You might not have had no question, and they make you ask the question because it might be something that's going to assist them in coming up out of their form of purgatory or limbo, right? Or eradicating a ramification or a debt they may have occurred while they were in the living realm, right? But now they're not in the living realm no more, and they don't know what to do next. It ain't like they spent their whole life doing that. You follow? And that's why it tells you that's the second axiom in antiquity that was written on the papyrus of Ani. And that was spend every day of your life preparing for the afterlife. For in doing so, you receive the keys to eternal life. So you want to make sure that you're picking up the necessary spiritual currency that will work in your favor once you transfigurate over into the spiritual universe indefinitely, right? You can raise your ranking just by honoring and showing reverence to those that have paved the way for you to be here right now. You don't have to spend all day like a Muslim banging your head into the damn ground. You don't. It just give them the same degree of reverence that you give your sustainer, the Most High, right? Give them a piece of that too. Same for the sun, same for the planet, and even to yourself. You need to do that. That need to be priority number 1. When you get up in the AM, it's pouring that libation, right? Said 3 times to the sun, not 5. Right on. Yeah, you know that much. You know what time it is. That's right. That's Atunre, and Amunre. Right? You do it 3, you get 3 times in, it's good. But you really only need to get it once. I always say once in the AM and once in the PM, right? But it has to be on a daily basis. You can't be spotty, you know. For all you people that got altars that haven't taken my discourse, I'll just give you all this little disclaimer. You shouldn't spend a day disregarding your altar. Every time that you go past your altar, you should be saluting your altar. Your day should begin there, not nowhere else, because there'll be beings watching you from the observational field beyond the visible spectrum, and they're going to take notes of your dedication and your devotion, you know. But you're not tethered to me in no type of way. My committee not going to, they may not give you the same degree of ashe. They're not in alignment with me. Like, I don't know what this person alignment with. That's why I asked y'all, hey, you ain't into nothing dark, are you? Because if you're into something dark, you have a dark tentacle that's tethered to your auric field. It's superimposed over your mental etheric body, which people are not even aware that they have a mental etheric body that produces an etheric double. And that's what you're using to navigate through the spiritual universe while your body is at rest. That's why I feel like you're still in the body, because your etheric mental body then created a double, a duplicate, right? For you to traverse the spiritual universe. Next would be turning on your macabre. And that will allow you to astral project to certain localities with a very low probability of something happening to you. But you got to have a destination in mind in order to project there. So a lot of people talk about astral projection and astral travel, but they don't never got a destination. Just like they talk about the spiritual journey, and they'll say they're on their spiritual journey, and I'll be like, okay, but what's your destination? Oh, I don't have one. Then you just a pharaoh spirit. You know, when you get in the car and turn on your GPS, it asks you where you want to go. You need to do the same thing with your psychic center when you're projecting yourself. Don't just project yourself out into oblivion. You're going to end up in oblivion. But if you say, hey, I want to go to the Sirius star constellation, you're going to project there. You know, and I told you guys about astral projection. You subtly astral project moment to moment, right? You wake up in the morning to go to work, you done already projected the work. Your spirit has already surveyed your work area. Why are you getting up in the bed thinking about work? You done projected there. You got to stop at the QT and get you some gas. You done already projected yourself there. It's just that your physical body, your bones, your blood, your organs, the vehicle itself, the tires, the car seat, all that shit it's a lot denser. So it's going to get there a lot slower than you would, right? And I keep telling you guys, you're not the body and you're not the mind. These are utilities that you utilize in order to interface inside of this reality. So the more that you become aware of that and you start to move with that inclination that you're not the body, you're going to start putting yourself in rooms prior to you entering those rooms. You ever heard someone say that a person's reputation precedes them, or their energy entered the room before they did? They're just basically telling you about astral projection, right? I call the people at the hardware store. I say, hey, leave me a message and email me and let me know when y'all got more of what I want in here. And they'll email me. From the moment I see the email, I already visualize myself at the cash register. You hear me? Before I get there. Guess what's the first thing that happened when I walk into the hardware store? Everybody turn around. That happened this morning at the Home Depot. I was like, man, I got to go to Home Depot. I seen myself grabbing all the stuff I needed to get. I ain't even getting the door good. And the lady was like, "Hey, welcome to Home Depot." I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" She's like, "Are you doing good this morning?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking." She told me she liked the shirt I had on. I got down to the next aisle. Somebody like, "Hey, can I help you? What you looking for? Come on, let me walk you on over there." You know what I'm saying? And once I got there, I was like, "I need to go to the bathroom." Told me where the bathroom was. You know what I'm saying? Other people shopping. "Hey, how you doing today?" Because my spirit had already went all through there. And you got to know the proximity that your spirit has the ability to be present in. That depends on the walls that's encapsulating said spirit, right? So when you in your house, everywhere where there's not a door closed, your spirit then spilled all over every corner of that domicile. It's everywhere. You ever notice when you lost a loved one and you go to the locality that they resided in, you can still feel their spirit present in the room. It's left a resonance of who they were in the room. You ever notice that? That's dialing into your psychometry. These are your higher senses: intuition, psychometry, telepathy, and clairvoyance. Those are your higher senses. That's what you use when you're in the spiritual universe. But while you're in the physical universe, you're using your physical senses. You're using your ability to taste, touch, smell, hear, and see for the visible spectrum. But you vibrate beyond the visible spectrum. You're just under the assumption that you're just this material dense form when you're not. This is your vehicle, right? And you're using this vehicle in order to experience this reality through your central nervous system, which is hardwired into the circuitry of your vertebrae. And that's where the mental energy is being distributed from into your chakra points so that you can interpret this reality effectively, right? And you pick up on all of the right promptings. But when you have too much belief and too much faith, right, and too much speculation placed in front of what is absolute and what's apparent, then it's going to send mixed signals into the subconscious mind where things are recorded, right? Because it's all about alignment. And I told y'all, we going in the head Hiru. Next going to be the brow chakra, dealing with all set, right? And these are the divine feminine energies. So when you're dealing with the heart, when you're dealing with the solar plexus, that's Sekhmet. That's another feminine energy. In the heart plexus, that's Het Hiru. And in the psychic center, that's all set, right? That's three priests, three priestess, three of them that are assisting in the evolution of your consciousness, right? They're assisting in it. But you got to be calling on these deities and you want to investigate who they are, right? That's highly important. But don't investigate them to the point that where your investigation trumps the attention you've been giving your grandmama who sacrificed for your mother to get here, right? Or your father, or both in some cases, right? You're doing them a disservice. And with that, how the deities look at you, because they just not going to come to you. You got to call on them, right? I'll see how I call out the deities every time I come on here. I'm calling on those forces. And for some of you guys that are in the community, those forces start to observe you and look at what you're doing. You know, we're not a trusted species, right? The humanoid earthling. You're not trusted galactically. No one believes you. They think that our our animal nature overrides our spiritual consciousness, which in many cases it does, right? But that's something that needs to be addressed, and it's something that needs to be conquered. And you do this through the taming of the mind and knowing the levels that the mind is capable of vibrating on. You got super consciousness, consciousness, unconsciousness, and the subconscious, right? That's 4 levels. You got 4 elements. You got 4 fixed signs. You got 4 directions, right? This would make up the tesseract. That's 4th dimensional. And if you know how a tesseract operates, it actually moves in 270-degree uh, uh, wavelengths. So it doesn't fully connect because it doesn't have a physical counterpart. You are the byproduct of its movement, right? So it moves, it almost goes interdimensionally, but it doesn't. It stops right at the threshold of the mental body. And the mental body is what covers up the auric field and allows you to interpret everything through your senses, right? Now, this is dealing with spiritual knowledge, not physical knowledge. And with radiology, we go through 1089 degrees of clarity, and we break it up into threes. 363 degrees of physical knowledge time 3, I'll give you 1089 degrees of physical knowledge. So 1089 degrees of physical knowledge succumbs or it equates to 363 degrees of spiritual knowledge. So you got to have a full understanding, and understanding of the physical dimensions in order to be aware of who you are spiritually. You hear me? And some people say, oh man, I'm already aware of myself spiritually. And then you get about a barrage of promptings or signs, indicators, and messages. We call them SIMs. they start rushing to you because you said that you can handle it. And you ain't, all that shit went over your head. Every single damn sign, indicator, and message. But you made that proclamation and Ben starts sending you shit since you saying it. And you're like, man, why does stuff keep happening? No, all you was ready for was a 111 or a 222. That's all you you was really ready for that. You know, but if you're not aware, if you're not comprehensively coherent of what's occurring, you're gonna need some guidance. You're gonna need a teacher. You're gonna need an advisor, a mentor, someone that's well seasoned. And that's why a lot of people fall short, is because they think, oh man, I can just do everything myself. Let me say this, just for the record. You cannot be a self-taught teacher. I'm going to say that one more time. You cannot be a self-taught teacher. Only way you can become a teacher is first you had to be a student. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a student before you become a teacher. Because where a person is self-taught will fall short is they haven't been corrected enough. They haven't got nothing wrong. They didn't have nobody to tell them, hey, don't do that. You're doing that wrong. You start attempting to integrate this with that and that with this, and your shit all over the place. And the being that's telling you that, they're self-taught, they know that, but they're not going to tell you that. You hear me? And I'm not saying that I got to be all y'all teacher or nothing like that. I'm just telling you the criteria. That's why I say hashtag spirituality for beginners. I'm giving you the criteria of what a teacher should have going on with them or what to look for and to ask questions. That's the main thing of this platform. A lot of people come on here and be like, yo, what's this about? I'm a master OrgoniteTEK builder, right? I build orgone devices. I build all of these. Some people say, hey, dude, who did that? I'm like, I built it. How would you even think I didn't build it? That let me know that the person doubt me and think less of me, lesser than what I'm capable of exhibiting. But my pyramids remove the chemtrails. It grounds the electrical pollution in your environment. And this sets the stage. You're welcome, beloved. This sets the stage for spiritual activity to be conducted in your home. Because one of the main things you hear people talk about is toxicity, toxic relationships, toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, toxic individuals. It's because you got too much electrical components in your home and you can't see, you can't smell, you can't taste, and you can't hear electrical pollution. You can't hear the lithium smog that's coming from your cell phone. Like when the cell phone get hot, that's lithium. You hear me? That's lithium. At a certain degree, it starts to create a pollutant, a cloud. And you breathing that shit in, it's going right through your pores. You're not even aware of it. And when you hold your phone, notice how the battery life go down in your phone, especially you iPhone users. See how that battery go down? Like, damn, how come I can't keep a battery? Because your body is draining the energy out that cell phone. Because you're using piezoelectricity in order to connect with your cell phone. And it's creating a bridge to your energy. I told y'all about the 6G. How that shit connected to your psychic center. My phone operating off of 6G right now. They haven't did a 6G rollout. But my phone operating on it. It's been like that for the last year. Notice how you can pick up your cell phone and it know what you want. It starts showing you racetrack. You've been to racetrack 3 times that week. Now you're watching YouTube, a racetrack commercial pop up. Just for an example. So it's dialed into your psychic center. And for many of you, you're more dialed into what you're looking through the looking glass. You're more dialed into that than you are your own self. And now this AI technology has the ability to map out your brain. So what are the pyramids called? These are orgone pyramids, right? This is an orgone pyramid. And you can see the film on this one. It collected the film from the LED lights and from my computer and my cell phone. Now this one I just built this a couple of weeks ago, but if I leave it up here, you're gonna start seeing film on this one too. See how shiny it is? See how shiny that is? That's because he said, where do people go if they kill themselves? You can't kill yourself. You could just cut the connection to the physical dimension, right? And if you killed yourself, it just depends. Like there's a lot of variants to that question. So you would have to be a little bit more detailed. Now, if a person just hung themselves because they depressed, and guess what? Once they leave their body, they're different prices. I'm now doing personal size pyramids. These are like 4 inches. These go for $175. If you want it at 6 inches to 7 inches, it's $225. Right? But I always implore for people to start off with a pendant or a piece of dream tech. Put it under your pillow because you got so much microwave damage that has been done to your brain from holding that cell phone up to your ear or wearing that earbud, right? That shit is cooking the gray matter in your brain. It's cooking the synapse in your brain. It's cooking the dendrites in your brain, right? And those things operate on a micro level. That's why they call them microwaves. And everybody wanted all of these microwave results, which you do get, but it's happening on a micro level. You want things to occur on a macro level. For all my manifestors out there that want quick results. You want a microwave result, you're going to get a microwave portion. You want macro results. So you can get a macro portion. Give me the macro version. You keep that little micro shit. Most people's techniques with materialization or manifestation are based on what they want for the day, the week, or the month. You should be putting in practices that will sustain you with a sense of longevity, right? That should be the way that you should be approaching your manifestations. And that's something we go over every Monday on the 1089 tech community. That's on the Google chat. You have to purchase a medallion or a pyramid to do that. But a lot of people attempt to, they just want to start off with the pyramid. That's, I ain't even with it no more. Just don't say you haven't been told. But you got a lot of holes in your auric field, right? And those holes have not been repaired. And that's what these pendants do, is the tourmaline in the tech starts to create a new aura, right? Because when you're holding just tourmaline, it's going to create a tourmaline aura over your body. I've connected that to the obsidian, and which absorbs the negative energy, and the shungite, which has the ability to amplify the effect of other crystals when in close proximity to them, right? And what happens is all of the damage that has been done to your auric field, it starts to repair it. So people, when they first get the pendant, when they wake up, they start seeing the rings in front of their face like they used to see when they were children. You start seeing energy off in the corner and shit, because it's the gray matter in your brain is being repaired. It go all the way to the cellular level, right? And it's the lattice bravadis of the crystal arrangements that's bringing things into a symmetrical alignment. Every electron in your body becomes aligned with that crystal, right? And that's why a lot of you guys that's in the community, y'all had these synchronicities and like, damn, why this shit be? I'm just in alignment. Yeah, because now it didn't align everything. Say what, Crystal? You got to be a little bit more definitive, Gary. If you ask the question, ask the complete question. That way I could give a complete answer. But yeah, that's my dark matter mix. I think that's what you were referring to. And I'll just take this pendant for instance. Said ignoring all your questions. I didn't see your question, Hotep Gemini. No one's ignoring you. You just made an assumption. You shouldn't have did that. But what's your question? Okay, now they're gonna. I've seen that question before. Where do people go when they kill themselves? They're stuck in their own consciousness. A lot of people, when they transition, they're trapped in their own consciousness. And there's a locality reserved for people that are trapped in their own consciousness. It's called purgatory or limbo, right? And they place themselves there. Okay, I see. I don't know what your question was, Hotep Gemini. You got to ask your question again. It didn't pop up. But for the being that asked that question about killing yourself, that's the ramification of it. Yes, you got to go to my website. Our new shirts is available on the website, beloved. You know, link is in the bio, or go into my story and click on the QR codes. Yes, I do sell them though. Everything you see is for sale, except for my staff. Not in case you in the AEO or you in OM. If you belong to AEO or OM, I got special prices for my fraternal brothers and sisters. All right. Yeah. If you off yourself, then guess what? You trapped inside that impediment that made you do that. Now that bloodline don't want you back in it because you voided the contract that you made with the custodians of that bloodline to allow you to come into this reality and exist. So now you're going to be hands off. Say they trapped for how long? Hey man, they trapped there. See, you an eternal being. This is where the evil one tricks you. Makes you think that you're a temporary being. No, you're eternal. You're an eternal being. So you're attempting to do a temporary act that can haunt you the rest of eternity, right? And a lot of people do it, and they end up trapped in their own consciousness and their own thoughts, and they have to consistently, perpetually deal with the fact that they didn't off their own self, and they can't escape that thought pattern or whatever. He said you could come back and had to correct it. Yeah, but again, that line that you came in, they don't want you back. And then word gonna get around real fast. Hey, this is a person that's they with voiding contracts. Now there are some exceptions. That's why I said that was kind of lofty to say you kill yourself. You know, one of my brother's grandparents killed himself, but he was like 89 years old, and he had some type of blood disease, and it was making him suffer. And they just still kept sending him to the doctor. He couldn't tolerate the pain no more, man. He just took the 38 and put it up under his chin, right? But if you're just killing yourself because you're depressed and you don't like the way life is going, that shit ain't gonna get no ashe, man. Nobody gonna want you to incarnate. You might end up in Rwanda somewhere in the middle of a conflict and die young, right? I had to go through a hazardous life if they do accept you. So sometimes you'll see malefic events happen to some people in this reality, and you'll be like empathetic towards the scenario or situation that occurred. And you don't know what that being did in their last lifetime to bring them to that state, right? They may have inflicted that same type of egregious act on somebody else. Yeah, they don't even know they reincarnate, to be first off, because they still trapped in the psychic field of what they done. They could be trapped there for millennia and think that it only been going on for 20 minutes. Because the only thing that's allowing you to feel time is the magnetism of your planet and its connection to your sun. That's how you're able to observe time at the rate that you're capable of doing it now. Right? But when you leave out your body, time don't function like that. That's why I tell y'all, in the spiritual universe, 5 minutes here is like 5 hours there. So if you take an hour nap, you'd have been in the spiritual universe for 12 days, 6 hours, and 38 minutes. That's how long you've been going out your body in the spiritual universe, because it's vibrating a lot more rapid than the physical density. This density is a lot slower, right? The way you look to some of your progenitors, it's like a portrait. They see you about to walk across the street yesterday, and you ain't even went to sleep. They already see it, and they know how to move things around so that you don't get hit by that car. You ever notice that you're like, man, something should have happened to me? But if you off yourself and you know where to go, what will happen? No, if you off yourself, you trying to make an explanation. You want a positive explanation for offing yourself, and that's not going to happen, loved one. That's why I be telling y'all, don't say that you haven't been told. So now I done told you that shit. I don't know what state of mind you in or if you trolling. I hope you're not trolling for your own sake. Because let me give y'all that disclaimer. I cannot control the way my ancestors decide to get at your ass. And a lot of times it don't even be my ancestors, it be your own. Okay, I'm just making sure. I just got to get that disclaimer because a lot of people be taking L's attempting to fuck with me. Right? But I'm telling you, there is no solution for eradicating yourself, unaliving yourself. You made a contractual obligation with those beings to come into that bloodline. And they let you through there. And when you got through there, you said, no, I just don't like what's going on here. But you already made that contractual obligation. So what if you don't remember it? It don't care. right? It don't. And that kind of makes being stay away from you and be like, nah, I can't mess with you. Because you could have asked for some assistance. She said, my right ear just told when you said that. Yeah, man. Don't play with that. Because nobody asked you to come here. Nobody asked you to exist in the physical dimension. Nobody asked you to take on a mother and a father. You seen everybody doing the horizontal mambo and you said, I want to do that too. They said, man, you got to go to the ancestral realm and allow them to assess you and see if you're worthy of incarnating into their bloodline. And they got a blueprint laid out for the way that they want their bloodline to go. You got to fall in line with that. You can't be on your own little mission. You feel me? Said my mom should have aborted me. No, she shouldn't have. That wasn't your destiny. If that was your destiny, you wouldn't be here right now. What it sounds like to me is that you're being a coward. Don't be a coward, man. Don't be a coward. No one asked you to come here. You here because you wanted to be here. Out of 777,777,777 sperm cells, you made it out. You made it out. So you wanted to be here more than the rest of those sperm cells. You got to take some accountability for that. Do you stay in the New World of North America? If you stay in the New World of North America and you got central air and you pushing a button to start your car and you got carpet under your feet, and I'm almost sure you got high bandwidth internet, yo, man, you got nothing to complain about. I know some people in Tijuana that's not living as good as you. I don't care how bad you think you got it. Your soul needed that in order for you, which you are your soul, to evolve, right? Struggle builds strength. You can't play the game on easy and expect everything. You know, people that petition for a cookie cutter life, they have very little spiritual substance to them. Right? Very little. Is because you didn't, it's like not watering the plant. Said we cannot teach God. God is the teacher. Well, God is a man-made word. If you want to be, you want to go there with it. A man made up the word God. And when he made that word up, he didn't see no God. So that's a misnomer. And it's been well documented who created the word God, right? That's a Germanic word. No, the name of God is not El. The name of El is El, right? And even that's not definitive. That doesn't give you, it's still lofty and vague. And that's why the word God was generated by a Germanic, Western, Eastern European. No, that's an acronym. When you say God, generator, operator, destroyer, that don't make sense without the English language. So now you didn't added grimoire and you didn't gave the being that then created everything an acronym. And a man did that. You follow? Source does have a name. Everything has a name in order to be in existence. So it's two differences. You got existence and then you got creation. You follow? And existence predates creation. Yeah. Yeah, it was a word before English. It just, the English language hadn't been invented yet. But God, Gog, or Good, as somebody will say, all of that's Germanic lexicon. That come from the Germanic end of the Proto-Indo-Euro tree. And that word was invented about the 6th century AD after Dominion. So Jesus had already been about, that's right, John Wycliffe. John Wycliffe came up with that word, right? That's right, Eastern Orthodox. Yeah, I said Eastern Europe. Exactly. And what happens is that egregor that they've generated, because they the ones generated that out their own consciousness, it starts to pull on your life force in order to give you what you want. It take most of your life force and it give you little nigga trinkets, right? For your obedience. Said Jesus' original name was Yeshua. Yeah, allegedly. Jesus' original name was Haru, right? There was no Yeshua. When you say yeah, that's O Shu, O Spirit, O Spirit. The Spirit head, the Karas, right? The Spirit head is the Karas. And that is the 33rd seed between two pair of generations. And that's 8 pair on your mother's side and 8 pair on your father's side, which will give you 16. And 16 and 16 to give you 32 plus you would be 33. That's where the Masonic temples got that analogy from, right? And all of that was stolen out of the walls of the temple of Anu. He said, and Jesus said that he was the Godhead. He spoke amongst himself. I don't know about all of that. He said, where was the temple of Anu? The temple of Anu is what the Hyksos refer to as Heliopolis. And there were 3 chief deities in Heliopolis. Those 3 chief deities were Oset, Osaru, and Haru. That's where your concept of Christianity came from, right? That's all they were capable of interpreting under their own volition because they were not initiated into those temples. You know what I mean? So they stole that. You follow? They didn't come up with nothing on their own. That's why they say amen at the end of their prayer. And most Christian practitioners, I'll be like, what do amen mean? They'd be like, so it is. I was like, that ain't what it means. You never heard of Amin Ra? I could break it down how that's Amin Ra the whole way, and they'll still be like, that ain't what it means. And don't got a better response for it, right? So what are you really in alignment with? Even when you go into Revelations, when you go into the book of Matthew, talking about the character Jesus, because they got to talk about Egypt because it validates their story. They can't validate their stories without including Egypt in it. So Jesus was educated there, Moses was educated there, and Abraham was educated there. Said, what does Amin Ra mean? That means the hidden ray. It's really Amin Ray. It's the hidden one of Ra or Ray, right? Which is dealing with the ectoplasmic levels of who you are. It doesn't appear in the visible spectrum. However, it is cultivated by the power of the sun, right? The source of God's creation, according to your scripture. When you read Revelations chapter 3, verse 14, Jesus, Yeshua, whatever name makes you comfortable, he said, the name of my Lord is Amen, the faithful witness, the source of God's creation. Amen. They're talking about the sun as sun worship. You hear me? And I don't care what y'all believe in. Ain't nothing popping off without the sun. I can see my God, for lack of a better word. That's who my God is. When y'all see the physical representation of Anu, the celestial representation of him is the sun. Anu Ray. That was the name of that city. They didn't want you to tie in Anu, right? They didn't want you to know that you are the children of Anu. Anybody that was born from the temple, I learned from my supreme grandmaster teacher, Dr. Melchizedek Yorkel, right? The Temple of Alexandria, all the way down into Mozambique, all of that is the land of Amun-Ra. And according to somebody who I didn't learn from, by the name of Professor Smalls, Professor James Small, shouts out to Professor James Small. May the ancestors cover you, brother. Right? He did an excellent dissertation on the Anu people. And this depiction is poorly transliterated and plagiarized through the Akkadian records into English through transliterations, right? As God. And God said in Genesis 1:24, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Right? Who was these beings talking to? They was talking to Anu. Who was these beings that was talking to Anu? These were his two sons, Enki and Enlil. And they were getting permission to make men in their image and after their likeness because they seen what their father did. When you go through Genesis chapter 2 and they in the spacecrafts and they're surveying the land talking about Pishon and Gihon and Havilah and how you could smell the cinnamon and the frankincense coming from one area. Then he said over in that area, it's a lot of onyx and beryllium and it's gold there. And the gold of that land was good. What land is that except for the Happy Nile Valley? The land of Amun-Ra. That was the name of that whole area. That go for Egypt. That go for Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Nubia, Mozambique. You hear me? Tanzania. All of that is the land of Amun-Ra. All of that. Why you think you got diamonds down in South Africa, which is really called Ganawa? But I got to use the terminologies that people understand. So Anu seated those people there. Said my bloodline itself come from the Empire of Benin in Central Africa. You know exactly what I'm talking about then, brother. Your shit should be your shit probably jumping up and down right now with what I'm saying. Right? And Anu carved that land out. He cut all the land masses out. Because every time that he would come back here, because he the one that brokered that deal with the beings under the water. And I keep telling people that. The beings under the water, Anu brokered a deal with them to bring the land out of the water so that he could mine the gold. The brokerage of that deal still took about 650 million years. Just the process of it. And when he came back, he seen there was a bunch of beings on the planet messing with what he seeded. The crows, for my people in the tech community. It was a bunch of crows trying to pull his seeds out the ground. And the first ones that did it was the Dahavidians, who people refer to as the Aboriginals, right? The dark-skinned, wavy head, flanky head, 6 ether Asiatic black man. That's why Australia is off to the side like that, because he cut that shit away and said, man, y'all go on over there. Don't be trying to mix in with my beings, which they end up doing anyway. Because initially, everybody on this planet shouldn't be over 4.5 feet tall. That's as tall as we supposed to get. But you've been mixed in. And they show this to you again in your scripture when you go to Genesis chapter 6. And it say the sons of God, right? That's the sons of Enki and Enlil. They seen the daughters of man and seen that they was fair. In other words, they seen that they looked good. And they had children with them. And the children they produced were giants, right? No, I didn't say fair skin. I said they seen that they were fair, meaning that they look good. Fair is another way of saying fine, right? The English lexicon wasn't that strong when they transliterated it into English from the Akkadian, right? It was like, damn, she got a fat ass. I'm about to go holler. Come here, girl. What's your name? Come on over here and have some wine. I got some gold for you. I'm going to show your daddy how to build a boat. You hear me? Said so they added skin to create superiority complex. No, you jumping all over the place. Now, initially, the beings on this planet, the pygmies, right, were green. We didn't start rusting until we started to mix in with the sixth ether Asiatic black man, the Hindu, the Dahavidian. Once we mixed in with them, then we started to bleed. Before then, you didn't even bleed. Your blood was chlorophyll. Y'all tap that screen for me. Tap that screen. I gotta take a restroom break. Take off my mic. Tap the screen. Yeah, so like, a lot of deals had to be brokeraged between the beings under the water and the beings from another star constellation. And vegetation from the Vega star, which is about 4.7 trillion light years away from the planet Earth. It's the closest star outside of our solar system that's close to us. And a lot of the plant life came from that particular solar system to here. Due to the calamities that occurred on your planet. But again, don't over sensationate yourself with the physical container. You are the spirit that occupies the container and that has plugged into the story of the Akashic, of the genetics of that container. There you go. It's like a conduit. So when you came out the water, you got a lot of sea creature genetics in this template. That's why you got to be around water. And if you're not around water, that shit need to be in your body or you would die. Right? Or your body will decay. You won't die, but you won't have access to that vehicle no more. Right? It's just like having a car. You got to keep the oil fresh in that car. Or you will blow a head gasket and then blow the engine and not a car ain't no. You will have to put a whole nother engine in it. And to put it in a more hypothetical, comprehensible way, people that have organ transplants and stuff like that, they haven't been taking care of their body. They hadn't had enough water in their body. That's why they need that transplant. They can make up a whole bunch of sexy terminologies as to why your body is out of whack. It's because you haven't been drinking enough water, right? You got to drink water, man. I tell people that all the time. 19 glasses every day. Not pissing out water, you pissing out poison. For real. Your pee should not be dark yellow. And you should be going constantly. That's why y'all be seeing me jumping up and going to the bathroom and stuff, because I'm drinking water. I'm taking my herbs, right? I take soursop all the time, every day. Soursop, moringa, turmeric, sea moss. Said, do you put salt in it? No, I don't put no salt in it. This natural spring water. This is the only spring water I drink, right? And if I don't get that spring water, I'm going to talk to my water in a positive way to recalibrate the molecular structure of the water. See, I'm comprehensively coherent that that's what's going on. And I use that to my advantage when I have to. So when we had the Nephilim, when you say Nephilim, that means in Hebrew, or is that Aramaic, fallen. Fallen. And the beings that was on the planet at that time, that was thank you. The beings that was on the planet that was the Neolithic period. People was not that bright. Right? So when they seen a craft coming down out the sky, all they can interpret was that it had fallen. Right? That don't mean fallen angels or none of that shit. They barely knew how to use a knife at that time. They didn't even know. They didn't know what a bowl was. Right? So when they mixed in with those beings, they started calling them fallen, Nephilim. Right? They took those letters, and you see it today here in the Western world with a sport called football. I'm not talking about soccer. Right? The fake rugby. That's how the Australians look at it, or the fake Australians. They look at it as rugby. Like, oh man, that's just rugby. Y'all calling it football. That's soccer. Football is soccer. It's not that shit. But when you look at the word NFL, which is another acronym, you can literally see the word Nephilim, which is an association with the description of the Nephilim, the word Gibor, which means giant. And when you look at the NFL, everybody in the NFL is giants. You ever seen an offensive linebacker in real life? If you ever been to a club or a strip club and you see that big ass nigga at the door, he used to play football, I can guarantee. Right? He's a giant. All of us is giants. All of us have extraterrestrial genes mixed into us. Look at Victor Wembanyama today. What's his code name? What's his nickname they call him? The alien. Don't they call that nigga the alien? Look how tall he is. Look at his ears. Right? Like, damn, motherfucking alien. Chet Holmgren, too. He's an alien. Shaquille O'Neal, that nigga's an alien. Wilt Chamberlain. Y'all might not like to hear that shit because you can't understand it and ain't nobody give you the memo. You waiting for the baloney man to tell you. He not going to tell you shit. He didn't even want your ass to read. You hear me? Y'all better wake up. But you got giants walking amongst you. Something is wrong with the rest of us. We're not supposed to be this big. We're not supposed to be taking up as much stuff that we do take up. Because then we become wasteful. Right? And we too wasteful. More than what we need. And there's people over in another country that don't have enough. And no one is making way to gap that bridge. At some point, your money has to become philanthropic. And I'm talking to Bill Gates and all of the rest of them people. What's the dude name? The Tesla dude, Elon Musk, and a lot of these basketball players. Right? You hear me? A lot of them have, they have the means to facilitate some of these countries and become a demigod to these people and don't do it. But it's a ramification for that too, man. People don't think it's consequences and repercussions for not doing nothing. Like, no, man. You asked to be here. You got to live up to that obligations. Right? See, I'm setting up a global economic network. Right on. To see what's going on right now, and it's for all my people that's in the basketball. They got a basketball league in Africa right now, the NBA basketball, the Basketball African League. And them niggas is balling. They hooping. They not acting like no divas. And they gonna start bringing a lot of them people over here to replace some of y'all niggas. Y'all be flopping all over the floor and, come on, man. Don't nobody want to see that shit. You don't think that what's his name? Adam Silverman he ain't taking Q? Your last 9 to 10 MVPs in the NBA, they've been foreign players. Jokic, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Wembanyama, he ain't got it yet, but he about to get one. You hear me? Dirk Nowitzki. None of them dudes is from here. They not from America. Said I had a friend that was Yeah, that's because what the space was turning into was all the ancestors. You feel me? And your ancestors transcend uh, the hominid, the humanoid form, which is a hybrid of a mix of reptilian and mammal, along with a few insects, along with a few birds, right? Along with a few amphibious creatures. Because you come in here as a sperm cell. In fact, for the first 7 days, everything between a turtle to a hippopotamus or to a giraffe look exactly the same. All fetuses look exactly the same that first week, and then they start branching off that main artery of the ecosystem and start developing into something else. So people over guesstimate and speculate. He says, so Ninurta. What about Ninurta? Ninurta was with the Agigi. You know, a lot of beings stayed up on the craft, so they stayed on Mars and conducted the experiments uh, to uh, put that template on the planet because they needed to mine gold, right? Gold is a high commodity across the omniverse, right? It holds a very prestigious value, and it's a byproduct and a doorway into the spiritual dimension. You hear me? But I hope that answers y'all questions. I hope that answers y'all questions. Y'all tap that screen for me. Tap the screen. Don't let Ricky Rodriguez do all the tapping, man. I need y'all to tap the screen so more people can see the live. And I know a lot of y'all on the other side just watching and y'all not participating, man. Come get you some spiritual currency and tap that screen. Tap the screen, man. Y'all act like I'm out here talking that bullshit. Like a lot of people would try to hold you up and talk around shit and dance around whatever they talking about. I watched the sister this morning. Yeah, I'm gonna get on you, sister. I watched you talk about showing people how to make money. I watched you for 30 minutes. You never even touched your point. You just kept dancing around it. You ain't even tell people to go to the link in your bio. I looked there, wasn't even no link there. I'm like, damn, this broad wasting my time. Let me turn this shit off. Go burn some ancestor money. I just done wasted 30 minutes waiting for you to tell me something. You ain't never even say it. You playing with people's time. Don't do that to people. Don't do that. I'm not here to waste y'all time. That's why I only come on here twice a week. I don't want to take up your time. I'm not going to be responsible for that. Like, damn, Dr. Raby, you know I'm going to teach for about 4 or 5 hours. I'd be doing you a disservice to come on here every day and siphon up your time like that. That's selfish of me. And I don't operate like that. I'm going to come on here twice a week for your ass. And the people in the community, they'll tell you. And y'all can look on my page yourself. I got well over 3,000 uploads. And they based on the highlights from these videos. So you can always go back and look at this stuff or go to YouTube. I got a whole bunch. My catalog is growing every week. I got way more than enough content. So when you catch me, you better catch me. Right? You better ask your questions while the getting is good or book a consultation. But I leave your cup over full because that's what my teacher did for me. Right? Gave me more than the answers I was looking for. So I come out of that vein, you know. And we over 60,000 likes. We'll get up on the whiteboard. Let's get up to 100K. We get up on the whiteboard, and I forgot what's up there, but I'm sure it's all in relation. Because most beings can't think outside of person, place, and thing. They fail to do that. Many fail to transcend thinking. So you got to transcend thinking in order to tap into your higher senses. Because then you start second guessing yourself. You start doubting yourself. You start being uncertain, and that leads to inactivity. And you don't take movement. You're not taking initiative. You got to have drive and ambition and motivation. That's the energy that you emit. You're an eternal being. You come from a perpetual source of creation. And I got a lot of drive and a lot of motivation. I'm motivated. If I had to walk 7 miles to go get something that I needed, I would walk that shit and walk back with zeal. Not with frustration. Not with anger and resentment. No, I would do that shit with zeal. Because my existence has a purpose. And I have a purpose in existence. And I'm going to impact this reality in a positive way. Right? I don't worry about what the news say. I don't care about what it said on the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. It ain't right here, right in proximity with me now. Fuck it. Just pay attention to what's right in my immediate awareness field. And when I'm not talking, I'm speaking affirmations. I'm speaking affirmations. I'm doing Gregory Grabavoy codes until I'm tired of doing them. And then I'm still working. I'm perpetually going. Right? Without looking for anything. And then stuff start getting added to me. Because I keep myself in a position where, like, some of y'all like, damn, man, this brother know a lot. Man, I don't know nothing. Right? I don't know nothing. I've been on this 30 years. But there's people that's been on it 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. Right? Shouts out to my brother, Jeff. I forgot what you call yourself, Jeff. I told you they'd get on your ass. You go in too deep on the TikTok. They'd try to shadow ban you. But I done lost my brother, Jeff, in the pages somewhere. You know what I mean? But Jeff been on it over 50 years, man. He been tapped in. He been meditating. You know. There's people I know that's really tapped in, ascended masters and all of that. They tapped in. They older than me. They've been at it longer than me. I'm holding it down for my generation. That's why I tell y'all, Generation X, it stopped with me. This is where it stopped at. I'm from the hip hop generation. Those people that's older than me, they blew that opportunity to get out here and propagate what they needed to be propagated. But now I'm sitting in that executive seat. I can't just squander it. I got too much information to just squander it and kick back and be like, ah, shit, man. Fuck them. I got it figured out. That's all that's important. No, that's not all that's important. And for all y'all that take that approach, hey, it's a ramification to that. That means that you stole that information that was given to you. And it was given to you at a rate where it wasn't being kept from you. You see people as way to fuck off. So what if they gonna argue with you? You still need to let it be known. Because what's my saying, y'all? Don't say that you haven't been told. You ain't gotta agree with me. You ain't gotta like me. You ain't gotta you know what I mean? You ain't gotta be in alignment with what I'm saying, but you can't say that you haven't been told. Can't say that shit because you've been told. And I told you. They be like, oh man, we sent Dr. Radio ads. You ain't even fucking listen to that nigga. We don't want to hear what you got to say. Says, so it's the dawn of Aquarius. Yeah, if you want to call it that. We call it the Paruti paradigm. And we coming out the Roman Empire paradigm. That shit is over with. It don't got no more power. It never had power to begin with except the power that we give to it. Right? It was just 111 when I said that. I missed my 111. We'll catch a 222. Right? And I'll call out the Neteru. See, we calling on the Neteru now. All Christians know is amen. That's the only Neteru they know and don't even know that that's a Neteru. Instead of saying Haru, they was like, man, we got to get rid of that Haru. Say Horus. We got to get rid of Anu. Say Heliopolis. You hear me? Oh, we don't want them to say Mary. We don't want them to say Osset. Say Mary. Switch it up. Yeah, take that Mary and make that mean this. And this is what these cave dwellers from the land of Canaan, The Hittites and the Amorites, they started to learn alphabet system and about hierarchy and rulership because of Sargon I, who was their ruler and their demigod, who you call Nimrod, according to Genesis chapter 11. You hear me? Those are their records. Those are the Akkadian records. And Akkad was an actual place. It was an actual empire. The pink man didn't start learning until 1750 BCE. You mean to tell me 100 years later, y'all ass then took over Egypt? No, they just occupied it. They were squatters. The same way that they squatting on this land right now and calling it the United States of America. That's not the name of this land. That's what your squatting warrant having ass called it. You hear me? They did the same thing over there in the Happy Nile Valley. And they squatted in that area that they call Egypt, which is a derogatory term that we adopted for them because they got burnt faces from being in the sun. And when you say the word Egyptos, that means burnt face gypsy. And for all my people across the pond, cheerio, they know about gypsies. Gypsies stay by the water. Do they not? They always traveling. They always moving around and shit. They don't really got no definitive home. They got a lot of superstitions and stuff like that. You hear me? And when they came to our land, we called their ass fucking gypsies. Burnt-faced gypsies. So they stayed there between 1650, that's 100 years past the Akkadian, because they didn't have enough knowledge to rule. And the people said, y'all, man, you got to go down there to the Happy Nile Valley. Y'all too stupid. You need to learn. But we wouldn't accept them into the occult centers. And they kept on telling people, hey, we rule this place. That word got down to Happy Nile Valley and got down to Blue Nile into Nubia, where Ahmose the First ruled. And he heard what these burnt-faced gypsies was saying. He said they do what? They running what? Get my boats. Bring the military. Let's go up there and see what the fuck going on. He seen all them damn Tim Hooves up there. And you know how gypsies are. They leave a mess. They just mess everywhere. Man, they kicked their ass the fuck up out of here. Drove their ass back up into the land of Canaan. Right? Where they were being ruled over again by another ruler named Khufu. Khufu gave the land of Canaan to his son. Right? Gave it to his son, Al-Ilam. Said, man, you rule that. Called Tel Azor. That's Israel, Turkey, Syria, Palestine. You hear me? All of that shit is the land of Canaan. Mount Haram. Am I saying it right? Mount Haran and the Caucasus Mountains. And on the other back end of the Caucasus Mountains, you got the Isle of Patmos. Right? They left off of that little island and went across over into the Caucasus Mountains and made their way through Mount Haran into Tel Hazor, down through Tel Hazor, back into Akkad, which you call the Middle East, Iraq and Saudi Arabia. All of that shit was ancient Samaria. And they split up the cities. It was 7 cities for Enlil and 7 cities for Enki. And Anu cut out the Mediterranean Sea. He cut out the Jordan and he cut out the Indian Sea and was like, y'all stay on that side. Don't come down here fucking with my people. Keep that bullshit up there. And that was the portion that got flooded out. Hence the temple of Nineveh, right? Nineveh. It's 77,700 likes when I said that. Nineveh is what you're calling Acadia, right? They thought it was a mound for all my mound enthusiasts out there, right? It was a mound. I'm writing about that in my new book entitled Anunnaki. Those Anu sent the key on crafts in groups of 50, right? That's not a pronoun. That's describing an event, a situation, or a circumstance. That's not describing a people. And they know this stuff. And they know that you don't know it. And they know you're not going to do the investigation. Shouts out to the Supreme Grand Master Teacher, Dr. Malachi Zadok, because he said, man, let me hurry up and put Nubian faces on these beings before they start putting pale faces on them and taking credit for something that they're not even genetically connected to. Because that's what they like to do. Even right now, as I speak, they over there in the temple of Anu, changing all of the faces light skin, painting over the darkness of the people's face. Tell me I'm lying. Why y'all doing that? How come the only person in the Bible that you can show actually existed is Ramesses? You can't prove, you can't show no tombstone, no bones, no records of nobody except for Ramesses. That's the only person in the Bible that has been proven to actually exist. All the rest of that shit is speculation. I don't give a fuck how it make you feel. I don't care what it did for you. That don't make it the truth, right? And they took Ramesses out his tomb. They took Ramesses the second out of his tomb, and they took Ramesses the third out of their tomb. They took their wives out their tomb, their children, their concubines, and they parade them across the museums across the world and charge your ass $100 to come see it, but you can't touch it. Why don't you dig up some of your own ancestors out the grave and put their ass in the museum so I can avoid going to see that bullshit? Do that to your own people. Why you got to touch mine? You hear me? They invented paper. They invented ink. They invented burial, funeral, concept of the afterlife. All of that was invented by the beings in the Happy Nile Valley, out of the gnomes of Bahut. That was the first temple constructed after the landmass came out the water. Tahuti was one of those custodians that was left in charge. Anu had to appoint a being to stay over this shit because he a galactical traveler. Your son, Afsu, some say Utu or Shamish, right? Your son is about the size of a pebble in comparison to Rajel, one of the alpha stars in Orion star constellation, where these beings first were at. And they had a conflict with some reptilians. This shows up in your Bible in Revelations chapter 12, verse 7, as the Archangel Michael having a conflict with Satan and his angels in the heavens, which is actually a star constellation called Orion, because the Latin word for heaven is haven, and it got its word haven from the word Orinos. When you transliterate Orinos back into English, you're going to get Orion. So our Father who art in Orion, Amun be thy name. May thy will be done on earth as it is in Orion. And I always pull this out every episode. I'm going to pull that out. Especially for you people to say Egypt started in America. You don't find no pyramids on this side that line up with the Giza pyramids that's along the Nile River. Only in the Nile River will you see this. So this is letting you know when the war took place there, they came down here, right? And that's the main artery, the main ley line of your planet. They call it the 33rd parallel. And it's a litany of pyramids around the orbital field of your planet on that ley line, right? And it's a whole bunch of other grids and nodes that are attached from that main artery. These this genetic data is in you lying dormant. That's why I tell y'all to put your feet in the grass. Y'all be worried about your own Akashic record, and you should be paying attention to the planet's Akashic because it hasn't perished yet. You didn't perish at least 10,000 times. If you in the sound of my voice, you didn't perish at least 10,000 times on this planet. And the planet counted every time that you died. You know what I mean? That you left out of that vessel and returned back. Like, oh shit, you're back again, huh? Oh shit. So when you pick up your crystals, right? Here go a little crystal. When you pick up your crystals and you feel like it resonate with you, it's because you was using that crystal in your last lifetime. Your last lifetime, you had that crystal as well. And it remembered you. It never forgot your energetic signature. So that's why you have an infinity for certain crystals, because you had it in your last lifetime. And it reactivates all the recall of what you was using last time that you had it in your possessions. You know, I just want people to be aware of these things. That I tested 3 years, 6 years, and 9 years. Yeah, you in alignment, Em. Hey, man, them beings out of Kentamintu, they brought you here. They said, hey, man, line up with this brother right here. Line up with him. He said, man, get it to it with this brother. Because I tell people about Central Africa, about the Congo, about Uganda, in Kenya. And a lot of you goofy niggas will say, oh, pyramids started in America. It started, Egypt is the real. Like, man, you heard somebody tell you that. Somebody told you that. Life came out of Uganda. And I stand on that. That's where life originated from. On this side of an asteroid shower 2.7 million years ago. And that's past the point of when the landmass was brought out the water. That go back 600 million years. Even further than that, but y'all not ready for all that. That's too far removed from your reality. You got to have enough of your spiritual consciousness expanded to process a lot of these stories, or whether it just keep being a bunch of questions about that. And that's what the dot, when he came on the set, man, and he dropped that holy tablets on y'all ass. That's over 76, that's over 26,000 years of information that's been laying dormant in our genetics that needed to be awakened. So for all my new Abia that have read the tablets from cover to cover, that shit should be activated and the Natiru should be working through you. You should be a Nefertum at this point and doing what I'm doing, right? Out here, because Baba said that shit. I was there, 1999 at the Nawapic Ball. Said we had to go out here and save the world. It's going to be left up to us. Ain't nobody going to, we the only people that y'all going to have to come to for information. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody else going to give it to you like Dr. Ray. Not in case they from Ramesses Lodge. If they not from Wahani, they're not going to be able to give it to you like that. They're going to give you a lot of speculation and run you in a bunch of circles and tell you a bunch of bullshit that take you nowhere. But y'all see the approach I take with you, don't you? What I tell you to do. Make a real spiritual connection. Don't prove it to me. Prove it to yourself. Right? Go ahead and connect to your big mama and your big daddy. Right? And develop a rapport with them. Prove it to yourself. Because see, we was a proof-based organization within the UNNM at that time. I don't know what the fuck they got going on now. I'm just keeping it 10K with you. I don't know what the fuck they got going on over there. Right? But whatever it is, it's not no definitive connection. I give people a definitive connection. I'm not even telling you to tap into Anu. When I say Anu, I'm talking about the sun. You can see that shit. Right? But I tell you to dial into your grandmama and your granddaddy. You owe them a debt of gratitude. When a woman is pregnant and going through labor, there's a 50-50 chance that she lives or dies delivering that baby. So your mothers, your grandmothers, and their mothers have put their life on the line for you. You owe them a debt of gratitude. And when you could show them an ode of respect and appreciation and reverence with gratitude over a consistent period of time, then you will start to garner the attention of the custodians over that bloodline. You hear me? And if they don't have the hiccup to assist you, they're going to call on the ancient ancestors that are pretty much the Natiru, and they're going to start working with you. But it's a pecking order. And there's a lot of people in the sound of my voice. Y'all skipped over your mamas, your daddies, your grandmamas, your granddaddies, and you tried to go right to Tahuti. You tried to connect right to the source, and you got all these mediums in between there that are in a safer locality for you to connect to that you just disrespect and disregard, and you ain't even up to par. You ain't even poured a libation for your grandma, but you want to connect to the main source. Like, get the hell out of here. That's like you getting hired at a job on the ground entry level, and you want to go right to the executive vice presidency. You ain't been there 2 weeks. You don't even know how everything really operate and function. And you like, oh, shit. They like, no, now you fired. You hear me? That's what be going on with a lot of people. But see, a lot of y'all got to find out the hard way once you leave that body indefinitely. Then you be like, oh, shit, this nigga wasn't lying. Help me. Please assist me. Please help me. And right now, I got my dearly departed. And this for all y'all people that ain't in our community. And even some of y'all that's in the community. It's my efforts and my offerings that are being shared with your dearly departed. Because my people already got enough. So now they starting to share what they got with some of your dearly departed. And that's why they bringing y'all into this space. That's why you drawn here. That's why you was on some other channel and all of a sudden I just popped out of nowhere. You're like, damn, man, I ain't even do this. Well, I didn't want to come to this nigga's live. Yeah, but your grandmama wanted you in this live. Because my grandmama did something for hers, for yours, that you ain't never did. You didn't even have an inkling or a clue to do it. And that's why they bringing you here. Because some of them have a coveted spirit. And they say, man, look at how dedicated and devoted that young man is to his progenitors. I wish old Jeffro would do that for me. All that shit I did for him and his mama and his daddy, they don't even acknowledge me. They done took my pictures off the wall. Only time they talk about me is Christmas time. Don't even tell my stories. And look at little Jeffro poking out his chest saying that he's God. But you still gonna go pay $5.25 to put gas in your vehicle per gallon. But you God though. You hear me? You got a death date, but you God. And most people that call themselves God don't even know John Wycliffe. Just to show you how far off people be. Somebody got to tell y'all that. And I'll just be the one to do it. I'm going to let you know. Y'all see how I go when somebody bring up that word? I jump right on it. Like, oh, come on, let's just nip that in the bud right quick to show you how off you are. Just like with the 360 degrees. Yeah, that's in a circle. That's two-dimensional. That's not a perfect circle. It takes 361. And then you got to know how to formulate to get 361. And the same thing with 363. See, I got all of the keys. And I'm not saying that just to be saying it. He says sorcery. Yeah, we just gonna disregard. You got a question, brother? Don't come in here castigating me in a negative light. I'm telling you, you got somebody on the other side. This is for the sorcery, nigga. You got somebody on the other side that you ain't doing nothing for. And whether you can accept it or not, my people doing something for your people. And they're not saying that they owe them anything, but your people feel disrespected by you because it's my efforts that's being extended to them through my own dearly departed. That's how hard I go for mine. Right? I'm just keeping it 10K. And one of my students spent a block, one of my advanced, yeah, I let him go, but I still gotta get that disclaimer to people because people think it's a game, right? But one of my advanced students, my seer, she came to me and said, Doc, I seen your people giving out offerings to other people, and nobody been pouring no libations for these people. Nobody been giving offerings. They sharing their offerings with them. I'm like, yo, I told you they be doing that. She was like, yeah, you did. She broke down crying and everything, right? For those that know, you know. You know, for those that know that they know. But I had to put that disclaimer out there for you people so you will know why you being bought here. So how do I get literature on this? You need to come join us in San Antonio, July the 25th for the AAA workshop. If you don't have the means or the ways to get here, then you can purchase the discourse, but I just don't get a discourse out to people because they want it. There's a vetting process, right? To handling the tools and modalities that I give out. Because there's a lot of people that's watching right now from the other side of the wall, some of them even in this room, and they mess with dark forces. They didn't made contractual obligation to the dark side. And many of them, they don't have portals constructed for their dearly departed. They got portals constructed for Baphomet, right? They got portals constructed for Lilith and Lucifer and all of these other Baal and Molech. You know, that's what's the custodian of their gateways. And those portals open up and are letting dark forces into this reality. Right? We here to get rid of the dark forces. So I had to be very scrupulous on the information I disseminate across this public platform. Right? So when you show up to events, you're going to get it mouth to ear. And it was meant for you to hear what I had to say at that event, because that's how some of your dearly departed get access to the dimension. It's through my altar, and they'll show up at the event with your ass. Right? They show up there. And I'm telling you, like, at this point, what year is this? Man, what year is this, AP? Shouts out to AP. I think this is like the year 4. I think we're going into year 4. Right? This is our 15th event that we're hosting. And a lot of, for you, thank you, AP. People getting results from their own people, not from my people. It's just my technique make it, you get that Verizon signal, right? Versus that little dial-up internet connection a lot of y'all got. Some of y'all don't even got that. You're like, damn, man, my shit ain't working. It's just something that he must be doing and I ain't doing. You know, we got a new brother in the group. He ain't even been there that long, but just the stuff that I shared with him has made a difference. You need to show up to that discourse, brother. I'm telling you. I ain't gonna just tell you everything for free. You're gonna have to bring your ass on out here and show that you're worthy of having that information. Because some people get that information and they squander. I watched them squander it. I watched their ancestors pull everything away from them that they put into their life because they gave up on them and didn't even have a valid reason for giving up. And, oh, cool, they didn't give me what I wanted, so fuck them. They said, oh, bullshit, nigga, give us all that shit back. They'd take the rug from up under your ass. You hear me? And all of you niggas in the New World of North America, you have no spiritual connection for the most part. You have no spiritual system. You have no spiritual foundation that you're working from. You guesstimating at every turn. You like a leaf in the wind. And half of y'all getting hit with a barrage of dark, evil attacks because you got no spiritual protection. Yeah, you got a lot of knowledge. You got a lot of book knowledge. But that shit can't hold no book up and stop the forces from that shit ain't stopping that little dark magic little witches putting on your ass. Shit tear your ass up. And them books ain't helping you. Knowing that knowledge ain't helping you. Right? It's just not. I know high priests for real. I don't come out here and lead with all of that. But the day they told me, like, no, man, from here on out, leading up to the seminar, I got to come on here and let you guys know that, man. Because I don't know who it was. Somebody's grandmother came to me the other night and was like, they was appreciative that what was being done. But they said that their progeny is too hard-headed. They're not even, I was like, I don't got nothing to do with that. I'm not going to overextend myself to nobody because, and I had to tell her, and this ain't the first time I told somebody on the other side this. I said, did you do it for your grandmother? She said, no, I didn't. I said, well, hey, you can't get mad at your grandson for not being receptive if your ass wasn't even receptive. Be sensible in what you petition for and be grateful that a hand is even being extended to you. And be patient. It ain't gonna just happen because you want it to happen right now. You didn't do shit about it while you was here. You hear me? And so we're in a new paradigm now where you don't have those gatekeepers and the Masonic overlords blocking you from tapping into your divinity. And I'm talking to the people in the Western world. Right? All you had was religion. I don't care if you was a Muslim, a Christian, or a Hebrew. That's all you had. And it was even given a chance to be a representation for the spiritual universe, but it failed miserably because it didn't protect anyone in the afterlife. Not enough people have been in a position where they didn't have to go back through the halls of lamenting. Right? Where they should have been up out of here. They shouldn't even be incarnating no more. But they still keep incarnating because the faculties of their higher mind has been cut off due to their bouts of religion that they've accepted. Says spiritual stuff is fake. No, spiritual stuff isn't fake. The material realm is fake. You hear me? It's comprised of atoms, molecules, and cells. And you're not given the lens to see it at that rate. That's what's fake. You know what else is fake? Time. Right? And I see you got a bunch of little pentagrams up there. I already know it. In his name, K Jin. Even though it say KJ in the streets, I see K and a Jin in the streets. So you got some Jins on you, which is a malefic spirit. They probably walked into your body and you ain't even in control. They ain't control and type of that shit. You ain't even in control of your own self. And again, you better be careful. Y'all better be careful, man. My Veer don't be liking that shit, man. She don't. Same thing for Mama Cement. Man, they do not like that shit. Says you was told, so somebody else told you some shit and you just believe that shit. Said we're in a simulation. Yeah, that's very convenient to say. That means you don't have to take accountability for obligating yourself to come through that bloodline. And I'm telling you exactly what it is. That person that told you that shit, that motherfucker full of shit. You can bring them on here. I challenge them. I got about 2 or 3 questions I know they'll never be able to answer. Because see, I didn't need YouTube to be educated. I didn't need TikTok. I didn't need Facebook. The internet was on a dial-up connection when I was going through what you would call ascension symptoms. When I learned how to meditate and open up my third eye, none of this shit existed. DMX wasn't even out yet. You hear me? When none of this shit was going on when I was tapping in. You had to really want it. In the 90s, you had to really want that shit. You just couldn't, it just wouldn't creep up on you like it do today. And you just scroll past it. No, you had to really be with it. I took parts. I helped build up Wahani. Not all of it, but from the time that I was there to the time it ended, I put my sweat equity in. You hear me? I was there with the picket signs at the what's the names for my generation. Just like my parents before me, they didn't have picket signs. They was with the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam didn't have that shit, man. Say who taught me how to make an altar? I was instructed how to do it by my beloved brother, Congo Real. Shouts out to Congo Real. You know, he's a high priest of several spiritual systems. Right? He come from 7 generations of spiritual practitioners on his mother and his father's side, going all the way back into the Congo and Cameroon. Right? That's a being that who I took my cues from. And he could see your grandmothers, your granddaddies. He could see everybody in the past. He'll tell you that the little pet names they have for you, what they look like, and the message that they got for you, because that's what he had for me. And this for all you know-it-all ass niggas, all you wise and dumb ass niggas. They think you got wisdom. Right? Because I knew what I knew. I knew the holy tablets back and forward, and I could meditate and astral project, and you know what I mean? I'd be chanting and hugging trees and all that shit, but I wasn't pouring no libation. I didn't have an altar in place. And he told me, he was like, yo, you being blocked right now. I said, what happened? He said, man, you being blocked because you tapping into cerebral zones and you tapping into pocket dimensions, and you haven't been venerating your ancestors. Every time that you astral project, they be reaching out to you and you just ignore them. So to get my attention, they started taking my business away from me. I started getting pulled over by the police. You hear me? Little shit started happening to keep me like closed in so I could pay attention to why these things were occurring. And once I got the intuitive inclination that I was doing something wrong, that's when Congo came to me and told me, right? I'll never forget it. And then my mother, oh yeah, I tell that story. You gotta go check out my page, Lemon Lime. Go through the playlist. I told that story at least 3 or 4 times, but I tell it in detail one time. You need to go watch my playlist. All of y'all, I'm telling you, will benefit from watching the playlist. Because not only will you see the progression of this platform, but you will see how repetitive the things that I'm saying over and over again. The only thing changed is the refinement. It get fine-tuned, what I've been saying all along. And it's going to keep doing that. And I'm going to keep articulating in another type of way, doing the best that I can to make sure that you're capable of comprehending what I'm telling you and moving on it. Because you don't got 1,000 years. You got 100 years if you're lucky. Said the playlist, it's on my page, on my TikTok page. Let me see if I can show you on my other phone. TikTok. Yeah, go to the playlist. One of my students, Dejon Smith, shouts out to Dejon, man. Dejon be going to fucking, he watched over 1,089 videos. And he ended up getting an altar. He ended up, he hasn't been to an event yet. Hasn't been to one of our events. He hasn't been to an event yet. No, they chasing somebody to Walmart right now. Guns out. Ah, shit. My phone is tripping. No, they chasing somebody to Walmart right now. Guns out. But I watched that brother change in 6 months. Took him about 6 months. And his whole life changed around. Right? Everything. Even now, he always got great reports, and he ain't the only one. But I'm saying now because he's of recent. You know, for the people that been with me more than 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years, man, they had talked to you all day till you blue in the face as far as their testimonies. But it's their efforts. It's not my efforts. It's what they're doing. And this will help you. Like, let me see. See that right there? Chapter 64, 63. You could just keep scrolling it. 62, 61, 60. I got like, man, it's about 64 chapters right now. But if I take all of the rest of the videos that I've done since then and uploaded, we'd be at maybe chapter 72 right now. Right? And I put about 25 videos in each one of those. And if you keep going over it, you're going to keep seeing bullet points that need to be addressed. Either by society at large, either by you, or things that need to be discussed amongst your collective or your community. Right? Because I pour the highlights out. I extract the good parts that need to be heard. And people have benefited from it immensely. Right? Immensely. And nobody can take that connection that you have with your grandma. Because nobody gonna kiss you like your grandma. I'm telling you. Your grandmama give you that kiss, boy. Woo! You can feel the love and that smack on the face that she leave you. Right? That hug that she give you. Those compliments that she give you. They're pure and genuine. No one could take that from you. And there are experiences that you share with that individual that no one can corrupt or pervert. And this is how people have their clear signs and indicators and messages from their dearly departed. You know what I mean? And these is real connections. You don't come to me and be like, I don't know what my daddy's saying to me. Don't do that. Don't say, I don't know what my grandma, I don't know what they're saying. Go ask them. That's what I told one of my moderators before. Hey, Doc, how I know I'm making a connection? How I know? Hey, why don't you just ask them? So she went and asked her father, hey, Dad, did you get in this? Can you give me a sign that, that I'm connecting to you? That nigga whole face came through the 7-day candle. His whole face. It's still there for my people in the AAA. You got to scroll through the thread. Scroll through the thread and you'll see it. She called me crying with snot bubbles in her nose. Said it happened. He responded. I'm like, yeah, that's your dad. He's like, how is he doing that? I'm like, yo, you ask him that. Don't ask me. I'm not over there. He is. Hey, well, Will, what about my mama? I said, shit, go ask them. Don't ask me. Ask your mama where she at. And guess who popped up in the candle the next day? Her mama. I didn't tell her to do, I can't make her mama do that. That's her connection. Because like I tell my students, it ain't about what you can prove to me. It ain't about what you can prove to Instagram. It's about what you can prove to yourself. And to prove to them so that they'll know that you can hear you and they'll keep sending more messages if they see that you cognizant to the messages that they sending you. You know what I'm saying? But her mother and her father came through a 7-day candle. I mean, came through it clear. And then she wrote something in cursive with a special font on it and put the little wavy line on it and put the swag on her cursive to let her know that this is not a game. And the Ben's name, who she went to go hook up with, the sister got one of her cousins or something. She got locks. She messing with the uncle and she all into Egypt. I can't make shit like that up. Right? And like I told y'all, we on year 4. I don't give a, at this point, I'm like I tell y'all, I'm not here to over convince nobody or the works that I do. I'm just a facilitator and connecting the pieces for you without none of that dark perversion involved in it. I don't mess with pentagrams. I don't mess with hexagrams. I don't mess with Lilith, Lucifer, Baphomet, Molech. I don't mess with none of that shit. It's irrelevant. If I can't find that shit on the temples of Anu, if I can't find it on the temples of Tatu, if I can't find it on the temples of Nu Amun, I'm not fucking with it. If it's not practiced in Kenya or Uganda or Tanzania or the Congo or Mali or Nigeria or Ghana or Senegal or I'm not fucking with it. Don't tell me nothing about no Bible story. I don't give a fuck about none of that. We predate all of that shit. You come from the people that invented paper. So for all y'all Bible thumping, monotheistic, religious ass people, until y'all start giving credit to the people that invented paper and ink, you can shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about what you believe in. Because you ain't gave it up to my ancestors for inventing paper for that bullshit to be wrote on. So let's just stop it right there. I'm a living incarnation of the Netaru. I was prayed about through the 4 ventricle lines of my family tree. And I was coronated on the ancestor realm. And I don't let people know that all the time. I'm letting y'all ass know that now. So play with it if you want to. Like I said, I'm not here to twist your arm off. All I can tell you is don't say that you haven't been told. Don't say that. And ask these other beings that's telling you about, oh, this is simulation. Let me see this crazy ass nigga that say that this is simulation. I bet I watch how goofy I make his ass look. And that ain't even my intention. But you're taking people on a path to nowhere. You don't have anything of equal or greater value to offer these people that have convictions in place than what they already using. You need to shut the fuck up. Period. Right? Because I'm almost sure you a bright individual. The being that said about a we in this simulation, but that person's asking you to believe that shit. Only thing I sequester for people to believe in is their self. I would never tell someone that this is simulation. Nigga, say that shit when it's time to put some gas in your car. Watch how fast that simulation run out. You hear me? Say that shit when it's time to pay your light bill and then the lights go out. Show me how much of a simulation this shit is then. See, we don't play them little spooky games with people. Some dumbass go say, oh, the sun is a simulation. That's not a real sun. Nigga, please. You 7.5 million times smaller than the planet. Your planet is 7.5 million times smaller than the sun. How the hell you got to say so on what the sun is and what it isn't? Take several seats. These are CIA psyops that are blocking your psychic center and keep you dormant and operating on an animalistic level, reactionary. right? Impulsiveness. All of that's tied into the reptilian brain. It needs you to be operating from there because it can keep you in a fear state. When you only got 100 years in this body, if you're lucky, you spend 12 years of that being programmed through the grimoires of hell. You spend another 15 years going to work. You spend 15 years being entertained. That's 42 years of your life. Then you spend 24 years in the bathroom preparing for the aforementioned places. That's 66 years of your life in 4 moves. They already got, they didn't assign 4 assignments to you by the time you came out your mama womb. It's already in place for you. And you're not even aware of it until you're about 65, about the age of when they say you should retire. And now you done wasted your whole life. You haven't tapped into the sun one time. You haven't grounded your feet in the earth, right? You damn sure ain't poured a libation. You ain't made an offering. You ain't even know what an altar was. You ain't think a God was a God or what the fuck was a God. You had no fucking clue. And by the time you start getting those inclinations, you might be about 84 years old, and it's time for you to check up out of here. You look back and you be like, damn, all I did with my life was work and took shits and showers. That's what the that's what the social engineering program teaches you to do. How to work for them, how to take a shit, how to shower, and behave. Shit, shower, and behave. And be entertained. And by the time you get to the end of your lifespan, it's like, okay, now you can retire. By the end, you can't walk. You got arthritis. You got high blood pressure. You hear me? You got rheumatoids. You can't stand up straight. You be seeing the people sitting in their little motorized chairs moving through the Walmart and shit to the parking lot. You know what I mean? You've been fucked. You fuck you over, man. And they make me out to be a bad guy for telling you that. They shadow ban my webs. They shadow ban my TikTok for telling you that. I'm out here trying to help you. I don't care what color you are. I don't care about your background. I care about your spirit and your heart. And as long as that's being applied with the positive intention, them the people I'm concerned about. Because spirits don't have pigmentation. Spirits don't have a gender either. They predate gender. Gender is an animalistic characteristic that you inherit when you incarnate into a shell. You never hear a spirit say my period late. You'll never hear a spirit say, oh man, I got a strong erection. My loins is on fire. Spirits don't make those type of proclamations. But when you don't have divine intellect, when when those faculties in your consciousness haven't been opened yet, you won't know that. And it's a lot that people just don't know. And they not gonna tell y'all. That's why I say hashtag spirituality for beginners. You know, I look for the people that's new to their journey. I'm not too concerned with you know-it-all niggas. Because y'all went to bed and shit to pamper a lot of y'all. So I'm out here for the people before y'all take them on the path to fucking nowhere. And show them how to make a definitive connection that's going to leave them empowered with making clear and concise decisions in their life. Okay, anybody else got any questions? Y'all get y'all questions together. I'm going to take another bathroom break. We passed 125. We going to get up on the board. Telemule Govinda Prabhati Karadushna. I don't know about that. Karagi Vasati Lakshmi Karamadi Sarasvati Kelemule to Govinda Prabhati Karadushna. Oh yeah, we do that every Friday. You do it 108 times for Mahashri Lakshmi. She is a wealth goddess and brings prosperity and abundance into the life of the people that chant her name, right? All right. All right. Anybody, any questions? Let's get some questions going. Let's take the questions. Lakshmi, what happened to you spiritually during amusement rides when you get tipped upside down? It's fun. That's an excellent question. Shouts out to that being. Motivation. That's an excellent question. What's happening is you're emitting a lot of your soul, your light up out of your body. And there are beings that have made contractual obligations with your overlords in the physical universe. I'm going to just take all of this off the board. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen this already. And they have these crafts that operate outside the visible spectrum that are docked over these amusement parks, that's docked over these amusement park rides. And they're siphoning all of the emotion that you're emitting when you're on these rides, right? And the same is said of the movie theater. When you go into the movie theater, it's siphoning your energy. They need to eat. They're feeding on lower life forms that have the ability to project spirit. Because I told y'all, you projecting all the time, moment to moment. The reality is shifting with you, right? You are moving and you bring in your bones, you bring in your blood, your organs, and your tissues with you every step of the way, right? But the crafts are docked over a lot of these amusement parks. Let's just say this is a roller coaster or whatever, and these the people on the roller coaster, and their machine is siphoning all the energy off of these beings. It's taking it all from their head. And they stay docked out there all summer. And they power up their crafts. They power up their beings that's on the crafts, right? They use you as and the same is over movie theaters too. When you go to these movie theaters, it's the same thing. Something is docked over that. Same thing with these bars. You got beings that's docked over, they siphoning your energy. And they know it too. They need you not to know it, right? They need you not to know it. And a lot of your government constituents, they work on behalf of the people that's in the legislation or whatever. What they call them people? The people that the campaigners that donate money to campaigns. They work on behalf of some of these off-world forces. Let me show you what this kind of look like. Because I showed this before. Y'all need to go check out my YouTube channel. Because you get the long form of these lives. let's just call this white, or we call it pearl white, because it's not really white. Then you got purple. Then you have indigo. Then you have turquoise. Then you have green. So put solar plexus. Then you have yellow. Then you have orange. And then you have red. Beneath that, you have black. Right? So those are the 9 spectrums. And those are also the 9 chakra points. See that? The 9 chakra points. This one is in your feet, the root, the sacral, the bosom, the heart, the throat, the brow, the crown, and the sky. Right? Now, right here, this is the visible spectrum. Here is where humans, animals, and all other organisms are visible. You see that? Once you start going into the orange, now you're dealing with emotion. You're dealing with heat. You're dealing with sound and other forms of energy. Once you get up to now you're starting to deal with wind, spirit, gas. You see that? That's outside the visible range. So you can't see these things in this end of the spectrum, but you can either feel it or you can smell it. One of the main things people will always attest to is I smelled my grandmama's perfume. I was thinking about my grandmama. I felt that she was by, and I said, "Grandma, is that you?" And all of a sudden, I smelt her. I got a whiff of her favorite perfume. I got in the car, and her favorite church music came on the radio. I didn't even have my radio set to that dial, and it turned it on. I knew that was my grandma. That's a real connection. You know what I mean? You don't be just sitting in the house and you smell some musty ass nigga and be like, "That's Jesus." Oh, I know that's Jesus because I experienced him. He came, my mama invited him over. You ain't gonna get that type of experience. You're gonna have to depend on psychosis and delusion to make that a reality versus somebody that you actually experience and you have a reference point and memory that coexisted with you in the visible spectrum. And it's beings that live outside of the visible spectrum, somewhere in the orange and the yellow, and they're assessing you, make a damn fool out yourself. And they're coming up with stratagems every night when you're leaving your body go to the spiritual universe. And they attempting to come up with a stratagem to take over your body. Because they see you ain't all the lights is home, but ain't nobody, the lights is on, but ain't nobody home. You know what I mean? Like, yo, the lights on in that motherfucker. There ain't nobody there. Maybe we could squat. There go that squatting spirit. Maybe we could squat inside of his body. And if he's not bright enough, we could take it over. All we got to do is manipulate his emotions. You hear me? Yeah, manipulate your emotions through sound. And now they done got hold of your body. Now up here, the heart, this is where the mind is. The mind is in the heart. That's the axis point of your chakra field and your minds. Because one of your minds is in the bosom. This is the subconscious mind. You know, I'm just giving some structure for some of you guys. I know a lot of people don't have this type of structure, so I'm attempting to give it to you. Throat, that deals with sound as well and communication, right? It also deals with what you consume, consumption. And it's picking up the signals from the conscious mind, right? They call that the mind's eye or the psychic center. That's the conscious mind. You use this aspect of your mind or this facet of your mind in order to see into this reality, right? Then you got the crown. The crown is what protects the conscious field, right? And it also acts as a receiver and processor of memory. All of that's in the pineal gland, right? It's the pineal. This deals with the pituitary gland, and this deals with the thymus gland. You see that? Y'all putting that together? Then you got the sky chakra. That's over your head, right? This is the floor of your divinity. This is the floor for your higher self, the super consciousness. That go up to the 13th chakra. I only talk about stuff like that in seminar and once you join our community. Outside of that, I'm not going to dwell on that in these capacities because people siphon that information and they're going to interpret it outside the range of what I'll be talking about. So it'll advance human society to a higher 7 point. Well, once you start dealing with the plasmatic fields between the planet and the sun and your galactical core, because that's what your oversoul is connected to. It's the galactical core. It's picking up on those transmissions and it's relaying them into the psychic center. That's the lowest that your higher self will come down. The floor of your divinity is at your psychic center. And that's why I say people be missing the intuitive promptings when they come to them. They'll get that intuitive prompting and what they say, y'all, oh man, I should have listened to my first mind. But you listen to your second mind. You listen to your third mind. And then you put yourself on that wavelength and you consistently keep attempting to connect the beings that's listening to their first mind. Right? But you only are only people that's engaging you is people that's operating from their fourth and fifth mind. Right? The fifth mind deals with incompetence. That means you're not even picking up on the intuitive inclinations. Intuitive, right? People that are second-minded are doubtful, right? People that are third-minded are uncertain. People that are fourth-minded are operating from insecurity. I'm just making this a little bit more refined for you guys. So if your insecurity starts bubbling up, that means that you didn't bypass listening to your intuition. Your intuition was trying to tell you the whole time and you wasn't listening. You wasn't listening to that. You was listening to the doubt that was coming out of your heart, which is where the unconscious mind resides, right? It's the unconscious aspects. And some of you will say, hey, how come that's the unconscious? Because it's running on autopilot. You don't tell your heart to beat, it just beat. You don't tell your body to breathe, it just breathes. It does that unconsciously. Is along with the other 90% of the activity that you experience while you're awakened. Most of that stuff is being done on autopilot, right? A lot of what you're doing on a daily basis consistently, you're doing it on autopilot, meaning that you don't have to think about it. You do this stuff unconsciously. When you get in the car, you don't treat it like you did when you was in high school. Like, oh, let me make sure, let me check my mirrors. Man, you just hop in the car and take the fuck off. Sometimes you don't even got your seatbelt on. That shit be like, beep, 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 beep. Yeah, put your seatbelt on. Put on your seatbelt and shit. You don't even think about that shit. You half-ass stop at the stop sign and keep it moving. You hear me? That's on autopilot. You do that on the unconscious level, right? When you're on the conscious, when you're operating in the conscious mind, you're really thinking about what you're doing. So when you first start learning how to drive, you're conscious of every move that you make. You're conscious of every car. You're overcautious, right? You move with an assurity. You're nowhere near uncertain and doubtful when you're fully conscious, when you're fully present. You got to be present. Be present. Stop worrying about what ain't happened. Like, shit, you making that shit happen. It ain't even here in the present, but you try to draw it to your presence, thinking about the shit you don't want. And then we talk about the other day, you guys. I said, hey man, don't talk about what you don't want. Don't think about what you don't want. Think about the things that you do. And put yourself in a position to receive those things. You got to want to receive it. And then you will have it. But if you're doubtful and uncertain, right? You grow incompetent. You grow incompetent because it's like, oh, do you trust in yourself or not? That's what you got to have, trust. Trust is your ally. You got to have some trust, man. Trust in what you're capable of doing and it'll get done. Straight up and down. We're going to go into the 99 Netaru now as we come into 222. All right? Abdul Kul Tafalat, Wabazun, Bibamu El Kulun, Upa Netarat, Minu Nu Sheu Kamun Elabihu, Atunre, Nunu Net, He Het, Kek Ki Kek, Amunet, Atum, Shu, Tepna, Geb, Nut, or Set, or Saru, Nepet, Satuk Haru, Happy, Anquit, Anti, Nefertum, Mantu, Befti, Sekment, Het Har, Best, Pata, Bass, Hotep, Who Me Hurt, Kefri, Meskahenit, Maat, Kentamintu, Hika, Neve, Mayat, Renentai, Shah, Sishat, Mafdat, Sobek, Anubu, Kanum, Kansu, Tanin, Sia Hikat, Amsu, Sarapi, Atumre, Tahuti, Tauret, Selkat, Ha, Nehepka, Sokar, Bait, Akir, Anihirit, Wabwawit, Sikat, Hitet, Marezgir, Sia Gadet, Astinu, Bahutit, Kanemtet, Menket, Hem, Madudi, Kabatsinu, Dua, Mutef, Merit, Ura, Edu, Nikabit, Sikat, Anukat, Jet, Temp, Ua, Uis, Anku, Afnuit, Sata, Sekti, Imta, Ninna, Imuet, Mseti, Kimamu, Ray Chef, and Mary. Amon Ray, for the sake of all. Kabu. Cool. All right, we take one more question and we're gonna get up out of here. I'm out of water. One more question, Lovewood. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Any takers? No more questions? All right, come join the 1089 tech community. All you got to do is purchase a piece of tech. The QR code is in my story. Click the QR code. I didn't got addicted to making the QR codes. Ricky didn't show me how to do it. I can't help but to make a QR code, right? And for all the people in the group, Ricky, you can share it with the people in the group. Y'all make an order, you get a discount. You spend over 111, you automatically get a discount on top of the sales that's going on and stuff. I got more trying to figure out how to just leave sale codes. I'm gonna do codes just for the people in the community, right? Because we're turning up the prices on everything, man. And everything going up. But I gotta facilitate for my community, especially for my people that's on a month-to-month subscription that's depositing into the afterlife. But things will get greater. Come join us in San Antonio, July the 25th. Haven't got the spot for Dallas, but we're doing Dallas in November, right? We're doing Dallas in November. It's going to be a 3-day event. And I'm already putting together the slides and stuff for that. So it's a lot to cover. All right? Come and join us. I'll be back here again on Thursday for Tahuti Rudy Thoth Day. Y'all know how we do every Thursday. Come and join us as we then went into the new moon, the full moon, and now the moon is waning. Join us for Moon Magic Mondays. She said, where do I join? Yeah, you got to purchase something off the website, loved one. Purchase a medallion. Purchase a medallion, a pyramid, an ankh. 1089techvision.com is the place to be. For the brother or the sister that was asking about the t-shirts, man, go to the website, man. Everything on the website, right? Everything is there. And that's how we do. May the ancestors be with you in this great day and time. Thank you for this moment in time, sharing it with me. It was a pleasure and an honor to be here with you guys. And I'll talk to you again soon. May the ancestors be with you. Badu.